About noon, we noticed some smoke down in a draw on the southwest part of the ranch, and we knew there was a fire southwest of town. We're northeast of town. So we were talking about that and how lucky we were that we'd missed so many fires in the last few years. And then by 2 o'clock, a fire had popped up west of us. And that's when we started trying to decide, do we really need to start moving livestock? It was headed towards us, but it was far enough away. You didn't want to jump the gun too soon. Dad went to the northwest corner of the ranch to move a group of bulls onto wheat, and by the time he got there, the wind had switched directions and it was clipping the northwest corner of the ranch. So at one point, Dad and I, Molly, my sister Molly, my mom, my brother-in-law, and the kids were all ready to get off the ranch. My husband had come through and gotten our horses and had gone back south to his family's place to check things. And we were all making a plan to meet in Protection, Kansas. At that point, I got a call from Katie, who couldn't reach her husband, and she was trapped. She was surrounded by flames and smoke and wasn't sure where to go. She was able to find a wheat field, and she waited it out on a wheat field. She wasn't sure whether she was going to make it or not. Then my brother-in-law and our intern, Laura, went back to the headquarters. They'd loaded horses and trailers earlier in the day, and they went back for the horses, and at that point they were trapped, and they rode it out in a hay shed. So the rest of us that made it off the ranch went to Protection. When we got to Protection, it was being evacuated, and we went to Coldwater, and we met up there with my husband at a church there. My husband's cousin had our two boys from school. She'd picked them up at school. She met us there. At that point, we were finally all together, and we decided we thought the flames had gone through, and we were going to try to get back to the ranch and see how things were and get with everyone else. So we headed back. We were within probably halfway home, within 5-6 miles of home, and another fire came through, and we were trapped on a wheat field for probably an hour and a half, and waited out there. And then a family friend from Buckland came from the north and came in and made sure the roads were clear, came in behind the fire and let us out. At that point, we had another group of friends from Buckland that came down and took all the horses and bucket calves, the livestock that was on my husband's trailer, took them north for the night. And Molly, Brett, and I knew the kids were done. At this point, it was 10 o'clock, maybe. We went to Buckland to some friends' homes for the night, and my husband and my other brother-in-law, CJ, and Laura then came in for the night. And my parents' home was saved by a neighbor who came in from the north. Her and another friend took water hoses, and with garden hoses were able to keep the flames from her home. So they stayed there fighting little fires around the house all the rest of the evening, and we all stayed in town for the night.
When did you find out? Was it when you came back here when you found out that?
Katie told us once the smoke had cleared. My aunt and uncle and cousin from Offerly had come down behind the fire. They came and found Katie and led her through the smoke to the other side, and she knew our home was gone and Molly's home was gone. We didn't know about her home until the next morning. We were pretty sure it was, but we weren't positive, and we finally knew the next morning that it was gone.
When you came back to the ranch, not only to assess your own personal losses, but then you had to assess the situation with the livestock too.
We lost our entire ranch. There is no grass left. 30,000 acres burned off in probably an hour. We lost 4 homes on the ranch. 3 were my sister's and I's homes. 1 was in her office. We lost a big barn, and we lost horses. And then the next day we had to deal with cattle. We had 1,000 mama cows that were probably 2/3 calved out, and we lost half of them.
There's the next part of that. What a lot of it was probably burying
Yes.
The ones that had died.
On Tuesday morning, we had a vet come in, and my Both my brother-in-laws and my sister Katie and my dad spent the day putting animals down. That was horrific, to say the least. The next day, another vet came out along with Wildlife and Parks, and they helped us put down the rest. And they spent 2 more days putting animals down.
On top of that, then obviously looking out for the rest of the herd and probably some health issues related to the fire as well.
Yes, our horses aren't here. We lost a lot of tack, and the horses left the ranch. So we've had wonderful neighbors send in their cowboy crews, and they've ridden cattle just about every day this week, doctoring for respiratory issues and picking up some more bird problems.
How many, have you had a count as to how many have been affected, the herd that's still with you guys?
All the cows that are left are affected in some shape or form. They either with smoke inhalation, burnt udders. We've had to put lots down with bird feet. Calves that are, you want to give them a chance, but they've got some problems.
But you said, what was it, maybe a couple days after you had some newborn calves too?
We have. On Wednesday morning, Matt Emmel came down to help feed, and he texted me a picture of a mama looking off her new calf. And we've had, maybe 10 calves born since the fire. That was sure a bright spot to see new life after all that destruction. Can
you describe just the overwhelming, I'm sure, help, people wanting to volunteer, people wanting to give?
It is the amount of help that has come into Clark County, Kansas is amazing. There were over 30 homes lost just in our county. People from all over the United States have come to help. They've sent supplies, they've sent clothing, they've sent toiletries, food, fencing supplies, and they just came. Like, we don't normally, I think the average person, there's a crisis, you'll offer to help, you'll send some money, you'll send some supplies. But there were so many people that just showed up that we could not have done what we had to do last week without the people that just showed up. And it was incredible. There's no way we could ever repay all the wonderful things that have been brought to us and done for us in the last week and a half.
As is anything of the case, it can be rebuilt. Have you even thought about, as far as the herd is concerned, what the next plan is? Because so much is right now assessment and taking care of what's still here.
For the most part, we're still in the assessment mode. We got through the worst of it last week, and now we're trying to start making plans. If we can get a rain and the grass comes on, there's green out there. We'll have a lot of wonderful green grass, and we are trying to decide if we can buy more cattle, if we can take in cattle, how to fill the grass once it comes on.
Which is the hard thing, because you have to depend on Mother Nature in this case.
Yes. I can't remember what day it was. Monday morning, maybe, when we had 30-mile-an-hour wind again, and it was like the dirty 30s. We had to quit everything we were doing because we could not see to drive.
Has this hit you to the full extent as to everything that's been going on, or is it?
I think we're all running on adrenaline, so it's sad. I mean, I could sit and have a pity party for all the things of my kids that I lost.
And no one would blame you either.
Things of my grandparents, but I've been surrounded by so much love that we're good. We're ready to build back and come back from this stronger than we were before. We are definitely going to be different people. Hopefully much more giving of our time and efforts. But we've seen the true kindness of humanity and God's love in all of these people that have come to help us.
Well, and it's just an example of that. Life goes on. You still have to feed the cattle you have here in the feed yard, and everything else has to be.
Get going.
As you look at this, somebody asked, and somebody commented earlier, that they're never going to see a natural disaster. Think of a natural disaster goes the same way that they did beforehand. Is that the case with you guys too?
Definitely. We will show up. Like, there is no way, no matter where it was, that you could not just stop what you were doing and go and help. I mean, obviously, the whole ranch can't leave at one time, but we couldn't have made it through last week without the people that just quit what they were doing and showed up. Old friends, new friends, strangers. We could not have made it through last week without that.
It's hard sometimes to explain to people the life of a rancher, the life of a person who raises livestock, on what they're able to do, and especially you at this situation into it as well. If you had a message for people out there, what would that be as far as what you guys are going through and what you guys are doing now?
People have asked what they can do, and if you live out of state, one thing that we're asking people to do is contact your legislatures. This hasn't been declared a disaster yet. Our community lost everything. We need help. We need it to be declared a disaster and help. We're not asking for free things. We're not asking to be given a lot, but this community needs help, financial help that other regions have received during disasters. We may not have the population, but we had horrible destruction.
Because this is not a days, weeks, months.
It's
You're really talking
years to rebuild. We lost probably over 100 miles of fencing, and at $10,000 a mile to replace it, we've buried over $1 million worth of cattle, and that's just our ranch. We're one ranch of hundreds that were affected in this area. It's going to take a while to rebuild.